Shashini Kalanka Kalevani Magna Keshavadrita Shukara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. All glories to Lord Keshava, who has appeared as the boar, Shukara Rupa. The earth was held between his tusks, which appeared like the scars on the moon. So this is the pastimes of Lord Varahadeva, and meditation of Lord Varahadeva as the incarnation of a boar. We spoke about different incarnations. Krishna has unlimited incarnations. Even in Vrihad-Bhagavatamrita is described. Oh, braucht jemand eine Übersetzung, deutsche Übersetzung? Haben wir jemanden? Kann jemand auf Deutsch übersetzen? Okay. The Lord has unlimited forms, and devotees, according to their, as Srila Prabhupada says, nature of the soul, accept different incarnation of the Lord as very, very dear to their heart. And then in Vrihad-Bhagavatamrita it is described how different devotees assume different forms in Vaikuntha planets according to their liking or according to their worship. And they said those who worship, in this particular case, boar incarnation, they assumed also the form of a boar to worship Varahadeva. So Varahadeva, the beginning of Lord Varahadeva, before Varahadeva appeared, Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, came to Brahma and he said, is it recording? You can move it back, just move it back, the table. Okay, that's good. So Swayambhuva Manu came to Brahma, Lord Brahma, and he said, I would like to, because I'm a faithful son, I would like to offer service to you. And this is interesting, commentaries of the Acharyas. I will speak just a commentary of either Acharyas, it is a Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami, or Sanatana Goswami. These are the commentaries of these three Acharyas in the 10th canto. In the 3rd canto. It is said, and Prabhupada says actually also, it is a son's duty, this is very interesting, I thought, it is a son's duty to offer service to his father. And I said, because you raised me, this is the ultimate appreciation. You raised me, you spent so much time raising me, caring for me, and now is my time to return this care. This is the law of the creation beginning from the time of Brahma. A father's duty is to bring the son up until he's grown, and when the son is grown, it is his duty to render service unto the father. Why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because we are all members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness family, and we have our father, ultimate father, Srila Prabhupada, who ultimately, through agents of different devotees, spiritual masters, his disciples, raised us. And then when we grow up, our duty is not to leave him and go to another movement, or take initiation from somebody else. Actually, it is our duty to give back service to Srila Prabhupada as our grandfather, but father also in a sense. So we should always remember this, the dutifulness. Radhanath Maharaj speaks a lot about gratefulness. But gratefulness has to be shown. Grateful, okay, I feel very grateful. But you have to actually show your gratefulness. As I mentioned earlier, also a few days ago, that actually duty or serving the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in certain ways, various ways, is actually part of our service to Krishna. It's not different from chanting. We sometimes, especially lately, we discriminate, or not discriminate, but we divide chanting and divide. No, it is the same. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the book of Bhakti Vikas Swami also personally said this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati advised or instructed his disciples to chant 64 rounds a day, Hare Krishna mantra. And, after some time, one devotee went to Bhaktisiddhanta and he said, Maharaj, you said we should chant 64 rounds, but except you in this mat, I don't see anybody chanting 64 rounds. And Bhaktisiddhanta answered very historical answer. He said, you don't see, but I see. He wanted to make a point that serving the mission is the same as chanting. Of course, that doesn't mean that we should just serve and forget about chanting. But at the same time, just to emphasize the importance of the service. And I want to, even more, to emphasize the importance of duty. That Manu had a duty towards his father Brahma. Anyway, so they were thinking this, and Manu said, I want to serve you, but, I'm a Manu man, the father of mankind, but my earth is submerged into the water. There's no field for me to serve you. This is, as we call it in ISKCON, Prabhu Datta Desha. Prabhu means this master, Datta is to give, and Desha means place. So our master, our authority is giving us place so we can actually offer service. Naturally, there are people who can offer service in their minds, like Raghunath Das Goswami, Manasa Seva, but he was, we are not, we're not supposed to do this until we come to this stage. It shouldn't be artificial. Because in the first day, I also spoke about this. Meditation on Krishna's form, and according to different, you can say, sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, what do they imply? What is meditation? Particularly meditating in the form or a part of the lila and so on and so forth. But we do actually practical service because this is the path of our sampradaya, practical service. There was once instance when one devotee, Vishal Prabhu, anybody knows him, he's a senior, very, you can say humorous devotee, but very steady and dedicated devotee. I don't know, I haven't seen him a long time, maybe. Sorry? He left the world. Oh, Hare Krishna, I did not know. We see. I think 15 years I didn't see. So he was very dedicated to Prabhupada. He always carried books in his bag. Everywhere he go, he would offer books. So once there was a story that he was in Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was circumambulating the temple 3 times as in the morning. And every time Prabhupada would come, he would ring the bell, bang, 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 then he'd go another circle. So then Prabhupada was going around the temple, and Vishal said, there's a quote from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, "Oh Lord, you are tirtha kurvanti tirtani. Your feet are your holy feet are all the holy places in the universe. I met you by great fortune." Your very poetic expression. And Prabhupada looked and he said, "What is this puddle of the water here?" And because there was some puddle, with some unclean water. And he said, I was looking, he said, "Do something practical." So this was the spirit of Prabhupada, do something practical. By doing something practical, actually it is no different than direct service to Krishna. As we spoke yesterday or the day before yesterday, the deity of Krishna and direct darshan of Krishna is no different according to Srila Prabhupada. And he said the only difference is for the yogis who can actually, or the advanced devotees who could meditate on Krishna's form constantly, is they don't need to be in the temple full time. Prabhupada says this. It's also funny. And he said, otherwise, when we see Krishna, like this morning, we saw the Abhishek of Krishna, there's no different than actually seeing Abhishek of Nrsimhadev. Hari Hari Bol. So, this is very nice. So, Manu asked, "Can you give me a place that I can serve you? Any place?" And my place is planet Earth, but my planet is submerged into the Garbhodaka ocean. So what should I do? And Brahma was thinking, what should we do? And while thinking, there's a small thing came out of his nostril. And he was, what is that? It was a little boar. Imagine you speak to your friend and suddenly a boar comes out of your nose. And his boar is not bigger than the thumb, small boar. And he was just hovering in the air, floating. And Brahma, and all these, there was other sages there. They were like, Kumaras were there, and they were looking, what was that about, And suddenly this boar grew to be as big as a mountain. And then they become afraid, what was that? Small boar is okay, but big boar, ooh. Like, for example, when we had in Mayapur, before 2004, we had a small Goranga. That was it, There was Radha Madhava, and there was small Goranga on the altar. Not big, I don't know, this big maybe. And then, 2004, the big Panchatattva came. Were you there, 2004? They came with the cranes, and that was like, everybody was like, wow. This was such an excitement in the air, with the crane carrying Panchatattva to the temple. These huge deities, heavy. So everybody would become afraid. Wow, the Lord has arrived. But point is, the Lord was already Lord, always Lord, whether small or not. There's in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam description when Parikshit Maharaj saw when he was a child in the womb, when the Brahmastra was about to strike his mother's womb, he saw a little Vishnu. He said it was very small, and this Vishnu protected him. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this small Vishnu is actually, although he's small, his mace was circling him. And he said, although he was very small, this Vishnu has all the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the size, is a matter of, you can say, perception, or Krishna's will, Krishna's desire. There's in Vrindavan, in Mathura actually, there's a temple called Dirgha Vishnu. And Dirgha Vishnu means big Vishnu. There was the same story. There was a small deity of Vishnu, and the devotees were worshipping him, and there was some disturbance. I don't exactly remember. It was Muslim. I don't know exactly what was the story. And Vishnu said, don't worry, I will protect you. And the devotee said, how can you protect us? You're very small, small deity. He said, don't worry, I will show you. And he just grew big. So this deity is celebrated as Dirgha Vishnu in Mathura. Have you been, Dirgha Vishnu? So Krishna's form has potencies in any size. So Varahadeva became very, very big, like a big mountain. And then what happened? Varahadeva started scream of power, cry. Wah! And then everybody really got afraid. Now what is happening? Now what is happening? They said, so the Brahma and all the various sages, they start discussing, wondering, what is going on? What was this creature that came out of my nose? And now look at it, huge. So they were suggesting this and that. So they said the Varahadeva roar in an uncommon voice. Boar can roar very, very loud. And this is an even more uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions. Wow, this was like an amazing scene. Like when we have a morning arati here. First, this is a canal. Canal is canal. Thunder. First to announce the Lord is coming with a huge tumultuous sound. So Varahadeva first screamed a very, very uncommon voice. And everybody thought, wow, what is this? What is this creature? But interestingly enough, although Varahadeva was huge and he screamed this a very uncommon voice, Brahma and other sages were not afraid at all. At all. And what is the reason why they were not afraid? Because they were devotees. Devotees are never afraid of Krishna. Devotees are not afraid of Nrsimhadev. Prahlad Maharaj is definitely not afraid of Nrsimhadev. When Nrsimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu and all his soldiers, imagine the scene, all these thousands of people laying slain, and Nrsimhadev sit there with huge anger, with his nails, kills everybody. So the demigods, now they know, now we should offer obeisances. But who? Who is going to do this? Who has the guts to offer obeisance to such a fearsome Lord? So the one demigod said, no, you go. And the other demigod said, no, you go. And the other demigod said, no, you. And then in the end, we know. Let's send the child. Prahlad, you go, the child. Because they were afraid. And Prahlad just went to Nrsimhadev. And he put a garland on him. No problem. Because he was a devotee. How can a devotee be afraid of his or her master, of Krishna? Not afraid. So Brahma and other were not afraid. Let me just see who was all there. Marichi was there, Kumaras were there. Very famous devotees. So what happened is that because this is so now, before entering the water, because this was the purpose. Every incarnation has a purpose. Either it's a Lila avatar. We know there's 6 different avatars, 6 types of avatars. You can say this is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and one of them is Lila avatar. Lila avatar means pastime avatar. And each pastime avatar has a certain duty or certain things they do. Nrsimhadev, he kills, Hiranyakashipu. This was he came for this specific purpose. We have a Vamanadev, 3 paces of land. Ganges came down from the toe of his when he pierced the covering of the universe, spiritual sky. And then this particular pastime of Varahadev is there to show that he needs to lift the earth. At the same time, it is described also here in this text of this chapters of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 3rd canto, that these descriptions is mixed with 2 different millenniums. So interestingly enough, that our Puranas are called histories, but these histories are not like a scheduled recorded. Like we have a history. Napoleon won, I don't know, became ruler of France. I don't know when exactly. I'm not good at that. But this king did that, or Kaiser, whatever, Wilhelm, whatever. And there's a date, and then the date, and the date he died. But here, because in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, these things, the dates are not really important. What is important is the story and the message the story carries with. Particularly stories connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Puranas are like a supplementary of the Vedas. They're actually philosophy books. It's like we have a books, and then we have for kids these books. How you call these books for kids with pictures on it? Huh? Comics so this is basically Purana comparing to the it's more like a story, so we can read the story and we think, oh, this makes sense. Or we can identify with Prahlad Maharaj, he suffered and he tolerated, I should also be tolerant, and so on and so forth. It's like a comic book, it's meant for the less intelligent people, which we are, all of us. Hari Hari Bol. Otherwise, we could just read Upanishads, and that would be sufficient. It is actually described that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is only 4 verses. It is in 2nd canto, described that this is actually Chatu Shloki, famous Chatu Shloki, that this is actually Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, philosophy, pure philosophy. But for that, we have to, for us, our inability to understand philosophical points, we hear the story how cruel father Uttanapada kicked his son from his lap, and then he went and found God. So something like this. So anyways, so this is what happened here. The Lord of Varahadeva became as big as the mountain now, grew up so big. And the reason why he grew up to be as big as the mountain is, otherwise how can you lift the earth? Earth is quite big as we see it, from Japan to, what is the end? Hawaii, something, so big. So needs a big person to lift it. Very practical. Lord is a very practical person. So the Lord appeared like this, and he said his body became very, very hard. We already see if the wildschwein, the wild boar, when you go, we have this sometimes here, deer park. We have animal parks in Germany, and you see a wild boar. If they are fit, they are very strong. They're very muscular and strong body. So Varahadeva's body was very, very strong, very powerful body. So although the Lord's body is transcendental, the Lord went to the Garbhodaka ocean. He was smelling like an actual boar. He was smelling, where is this earth? Smelling. Sometimes we see, not here, because here everything is sterile, but in India, not even so much in India actually, but that was before. The boar, wild boar in Vrindavan, they're wandering, and they're doing this, looking in this water, what's going on there with the schnauze. What is the schnauze? With the nose. So Lord actually assumes, when Lord performs Leela, the Lord gets fully into this Leela. It's not like as sometimes as we play, we can play drama, but we always know, this is, Mother Jivan is playing whatever, and everybody knows it's Mother Jivan, and he knows himself how Mother Jivan. But when Lord play a boar, he is boar. He's not thinking about this, why I'm actually God, He is a boar. It's his nose, he's smelling to find the earth. This is a uniqueness. We have when the child Krishna did something very wrong, he broke the pots. And then Madhya Yashoda saw this, and she became very fearsome. She took the stick. Now I will beat you. And then Krishna started crying, and his kajal. They do in India. They put the kajal, this kind of like a color around children's eyes, and he was crying. And this kajal was melting here on his cheeks. And the Acharyas explained, the Prabhupada explained that this is not Krishna is not faking. He actually is afraid of Madhya Yashoda. So this is amazing, God. But this is because Krishna allow his internal potency, Yoga Maya, to do everything so he can actually perform his pastimes. This is unique. Krishna is actually, therefore Krishna is Param Purusha, or supreme enjoyer. He is actually enjoying all kinds of things. Although he knows everything, he's still enjoying certain things that he likes. So Varahadeva, to go back to Varahadeva, he was jumping in the water with his hoofs. He was separating this ocean because he had a very sharp hoofs, very sharp. So when he was separating Garbhodaka ocean personified came afraid. He said, please do not cut me in two. He said, I will yield, no problem. I will move, so you can just don't cut me, because Lord is very, very powerful. So Lord went down there, and he went to the limit of the ocean, although ocean has no limits. So Krishna can do anything. So he went there, and he picked up the earth. With his tusks, because he lifted with his tusks, and when he was coming out, this is now some interesting story. When he was coming out, just before he was coming out, a demon appeared, and he said, "What are you doing?" And Varahadeva was, lifting the earth, and Hiranyaksha said there was a famous demon, Hiranyaksha. I'll speak a little bit later about him. And he said, this earth belongs to us. It doesn't belong to you, so put it back. This is like in the movies, Put it back. So Lord Varahadeva, of course, didn't want to put it back, so he took the earth out, and the earth became very, very afraid. So what happened? Hiranyaksha wanted to chase the Lord and to kill the Lord. And the Lord left the earth to float on the water and returned to fight Hiranyaksha, which battle we'll speak a little bit later on. This is a cliffhanger. That you wait, what's going to happen in this battle? Nobody knows. Of course, those who read past time know, but again, you never know. And then when Krishna took, he finished everything, and he took, coming back to this beginning, he put the earth, placed earth back, and then he had to assume the color of tamal tree. Who has the color of the tamal tree? Krishna. We know Krishna. Tamal Krishna, there's a famous devotee in ISKCON, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So tamal means the color of Krishna's body. And because it is said that actually the forms of Varahadeva, one described from Swayambhuva Manu, one from the other Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, they are different colors. One, you can see this pastime, sometimes Varahadeva is described as red, Shukla, and sometimes as Shveta Varaha. And interestingly enough, whoever went to Mathura in Vrindavan, if you go a little bit this road and that road up the hill, and there's the two temples of Varahadeva very close to each other, maybe 20 meters. And one temple is on the very top, is a Shukla Varaha, a red Varahadev. And as you remember, on the first day I spoke about the mind, the deity which appears in the mind. And then from Kashyapa's mind, this deity manifested, how powerful Kashyapa's mind was. So this particular deity is this red Varaha who is now in Mathura. And a little bit lower is Shveta Varaha, white Varaha. So you can choose which millennia Varahadev you want to worship, because Varahadev is there in Mathura, in this particular place. So he assumed the dark complexion form just to show the devotees, I am actually Krishna. So, another interesting thing, when Varahadev came out of the water, what's happening when the dogs come out of the water? You have so many dogs. They do this. And the water, the drops fall everywhere, So we call this Abhishek, So dogs also do Abhishek and then smear the Charanamrita on the owner of the dog. So we have it today, we had the Abhishek, O Lord Nrsimhadev, and this water, Govindandev was throwing at us, which is like, this is what Varahadev did. He came out of the water, and his short hair, very sharp hair, the boars have a sharp, short hair, shook, and from this transcendental body sprinkled all over the universe. Jaya Nrsimhadeva ki jai. All over the universe. Even the Jana, Tapas, and Satya Loka received the drops. Imagine how much it was shaking everywhere, So the residents of Jana Loka and Satya, of these higher planets, they immediately accepted, wow, this is actually Charanamrita. They, with great respect, they, accepted these drops. We have in the morning, when we do Mangalartik, somebody comes behind us, if you're first time here, and then throw water on us, we're wondering, what's going on? But this is what's going on. Charanamrita of the Lord. The Lord, the body, He's bathed His body, and the drops are becoming transcendental. So this is what that water was. And because everything in contact with the Lord becomes pure. Of course, we don't offer impure water for the Lord. We offer pure water and becomes transcendental. Or as Prabhupada says, Krishnaized, become Krishnaized. The food when we offer to Krishna is regular food, regular bananas, regular apples. But when we offer to the Lord, the food becomes Krishnaized. Or Prabhupada says, sanctified, Krishnaized. So, after this, Lord put the earth back, and He said, text 48 and 49, the end of this chapter is very interesting, because many times in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we have something which is called blessings at the end of the chapter. It said, whoever hears and describes in devotional attitude the auspicious narration of Lord Varahadeva bore, Varahadeva is very, very pleased. So now we just heard about Varahadeva. Varahadeva is very pleased with us. Whoever describes and whoever hears it. So if you have managed to not sleep last couple of 15, 20 minutes, we'll all get blessings from Varahadeva. Another blessings. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. So nothing. There's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mukham karoti vachalam, pangum langayata girim, yat kripatamaham vande, paramahamsa madhava, Sri Chaitanya Ishvara. Sometimes we translate Sri Guru Dira Tarinam. But one who has the blessings of the Lord, of Lord Chaitanya, nothing is impossible. The blind man can see the stars, the lame man can cross the mountains. And in the case of, my personal self, I know before I joined the Hare Krishna movement, and now I can see, whatever I achieved in Krishna consciousness movement is only by the blessings, by the blessings of Krishna. What qualifications do we have actually to serve Krishna? Prabhupada says, we have so many zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. All material qualifications are zeros. And if you don't add 1 or Krishna in front of it, there remain zeros. But if you add 1, they suddenly became 1,000 or 10 or 1 million. So we should try to add Krishna in our lives, and then whatever we have to employ in Krishna service. So nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. So we should also, as Prabhupada says, think big. We should think big for Krishna, because although I'm unqualified, nothing remains unachieved. Rupa Goswami says this very, very beautiful verse. They said, I have no qualification of Vaishnava. I have no mystic power like other devotees. I don't have, if you examine me, actually I have no qualities. But I have a hope that by Krishna's mercy, I will be able to do some service for Krishna. I'll be able to achieve Krishna's lotus feet. And he said, this hope is giving me pain. And this is interesting mix, in our movement, in our Sampradaya, we have lots of this mixture of pain and happiness. The gopis, will speak about gopis next few days. Although it's ecstatic, it's still, we have a pain. So devotees understand, I do not have qualification, but I will keep on serving Krishna, and I know by Krishna's mercy everything is possible. Confirmed. Haribol, Haribol. So this was the pastimes of Lord of Varahadeva. In short, what we didn't put in this story is the battle with Hiranyaksha. This is, for me, nectar of the nectars. There's such an insult, how they insult each other. This is, for me, wonderful. This is actually the first book I ever read in the Hare Krishna, before I joined. Devotee friend of mine gave me this third canto of Varahadeva, and also the Kapila Dev later on. But first, when I read this Varahadeva, and this picture, Varahadeva holding a club, and Hiranyaksha, and I was thinking, wow, this is such a great battle. I love it. So by reading this, I became, by the mercy of Varahadeva, I became a devotee. Varahadeva ki Jaya. So what is actually happening here? Who told the story about battle between Varahadeva and Hiranyaksha is Lord Brahma. I mean, if Brahma says something, this is the supreme authority. There's no higher authority in this world, in this material world, except Brahma. Brahma is the highest. So Brahma told this story, which is, again, automatically authorized. The great souls, they don't say something whimsical, something which is not true. Or speculation. Brahma was there, he's the highest authority. So there was 2 brothers, as we know. I will skip the whole story of Jaya and Vijay. But 2 brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyaksha plays a very important role because he was fighting Lord Varahadeva. Hiranyaksha was a very, very powerful warrior. He was not like some wishy-washy, guy sitting in the office pressing buttons and sending the troops to fight for them, and he sits in a bunker. Hiranyaksha was a very powerful powerful man. He said he had the tusks also, like a vampire, like we have vampires, these tusks. So he had the tusks, and he had the blonde, beautiful flowing hair. And he has the big, big garland. And he carried always his mace on his shoulder, for any case. Some people carry always the toolbox. We had one Mataji, Bhaktin. She was a little older. She was maybe 35, 40. And her father came to visit the temple, and he brought her a gift, a toolbox with screwdriver and all these keys. And she was so happy. She said, this is what I was, when I left the house, I didn't have in my toolbox. And so she was, wherever you go, program, and she carried her toolbox, for any case, to fix. He was always fixing the doors and everything, fixing everything around the temple. So, in the same way, Hiranyaksha was carrying his mace. For any case, if somebody comes to fight, I'm ready. So he would walk around, and he would just go around and ask anybody, you want to fight me? You want to fight me? There are people like this. I don't know. Isn't it? No? In my youth, I had these people. You want to fight? For no reason. They just somehow itch, their fists itching, So Hiranyaksha was itching. Anybody wants to fight? Nobody. So he said, okay, nobody wants to fight me on the land. Let me go into the water. So he just dove, and all the fish were afraid. Oh my God, Hiranyaksha. Everybody ran away. So then he went directly to Varuna, and he said, in a false humility, my dear Lord, like cynical, my dear Lord, would you like to fight me? And Varuna said, no, I'm very old actually. All our demigods, we are very, very old. Fighting going on. We are all very, very old. We cannot fight you. You are young and powerful. The only worthy adversary to you, the only person you could fight is Vishnu. But there's only one problem. When you fight Vishnu, you will very soon become food for the dogs. Oh, this Kshatriya language. And then Hiranyaksha said, let me find him. And then he was looking for Vishnu, he could not find him. Do you know who told him when to find Vishnu? Narada Muni. Always Narada Muni. Whenever there's some fight supposed to happen or something that Krishna has to appear, Narada is always there. Narada said, Vishnu is behind this corner in the universe, street such and such, address they gave him. So then Hiranyaksha, he told him he's actually just lifting up the earth from the Garbhodaka ocean. And Hiranyaksha said, okay, great. And he just flew there like a, fastest airplane ever. And one thing I didn't say, that he was also decorated with gold, full of gold decorations. Hiranya ultimately means gold. We have one in Vrindavan. There's this Hiranya gold merchant. Anybody knows Loy Bazaar? No. This is for all the devotees. Hiranya gold merchant. So Hiranya means gold. So he would go. They said his mental and bodily strength made him very, very proud. So not that he was only bodily strong, but he was mentally strong. So this is a powerful combination in a negative way, of course. And he became very, very puffed up, very proud. People, as I mentioned, I think the other day, people who are very rich, people who are very powerful, very intelligent, they, beautiful, they think, all these people down there, I'm not all, but some. I am the one. So he was they said the proud of falsely glorious Hiranyaksha paid little heed to the words of Varuna. He said, he was very proud and falsely glorious. He thought he is very glorious. Then immediately he went to the ocean. So interesting enough, Prabhupada says that the materialistic warmongers, people who actually desire to create wars, he said, they're very eager to fight. They're not afraid to fight anybody. So because they have this nature to actually desire for war. Anyways, I will not comment current political situation. But he finally went to the ocean and he saw Varahadeva. As soon as he saw Varahadeva, in his boar incarnation, the Hiranyaksha laughed. Ha ha ha. In our dramas in ISKCON, we always said this, with big mustache, he said, ha 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 ha. He's laughing, the demons. Ha ha. We have Hiranyakashipu is laughing, Hiranyaksha is laughing, the Mada and Jaya there, ha ha ha, laugh, everybody's laughing. The demoniac laughter. And he said, oh, you an amphibious beast. Wow. Already offending him. But this is the mood of a Kshatriya. No nonsense. No introduction. Kshatriyas just go straight to the point. He didn't say, I actually seen you before. No, you amphibious beast to Varahadeva. And Varahadeva, he spoke more. He said, you are the best of the demigods. I've heard about you. He said, you are dressed in a form of a boar. He said, this earth is belonging to me, so give it to me. So he was immediately straightforward. Then he said to Varahadeva, oh, you fool. Imagine such offense. Fool. You know fool? Terrible. We don't say this to people. He said, your power is only mystic. He said, you're only just mystic powers. This is some nonsense. But today I shall enliven my family by killing you. And the music, very, very amazing thing is happening right now. Hiranyaksha offended Varahadeva, told him you are some amphibious animal, some water animal. I've heard, anyways, I don't want to say. One devotee said something very, when we want to offend something, we find very nice words, which is like, you are an animal. You are just a water animal. And you just have some mystic powers. And I'll be very happy, my relatives will be very happy to know that today I will kill you. So, what did Varahadeva do? Varahadeva became very, very angry, offended also. Kshatriyas are not humble. Although he was Varahadeva, a boar, still he had a mace, he had a Kshatriya weapon. So Kshatriya, we don't see, in the Mahabharata, of course there's certain, in their nature they're humble, but on the battlefield there's no place for humility. Oh, okay, you have a bad childhood, therefore I will not fight you. No, it takes the mace and let's see. When somebody offended Bhima was, we were just talking this the other day, Bhima was ferocious in the battlefield, ferocious. I don't want to say it in front of the children. Bhima was amazing things he did. Not humble. Kill everybody, then, first kill, then we can speak, This is the mood of a Kshatriya. So, Varahadeva, pained by the shaft-like abusive words. So these are like a shafts, piercing his heart, Varahadev's. He was offended, so offended by these words. Then he was thinking, what should I do now? Because he was carrying the earth, the planet Earth on his tusk. And was saying, okay, let me first leave this earth there, and then I can fight him. I thought it was very interesting, the Varahadeva considered the duty as the foremost. We spoke quite a bit also in Köln about this, the duty before the feelings. Our relationship, our everything is based on duty. And of course, feelings are also there, but even with, for example, in Ramachandra pastimes, the Lord Ramachandra, he left his father and all these citizens who loved him because it was his duty he promised. So duty first, Vedic society, the duty is first. If you have this mentality, actually in the Western philosophy, there are very few people who speak about duty except Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant, and many philosophers don't like him because he said this, the duty is actually foremost, first and foremost. We have a duty towards God, duty towards community, society, and so forth. So it's a duty. And our relationship, husband and wife, are based on duty. So therefore, there's no such a thing as we, after 3 years, as Prabhupada says many times, the husband and wife are dissatisfied sexually, and they said, I'm leaving. I find as one devotee said, better model. I find a newer model. As we have an old car from 1997, you say, let's buy this is a better model, 2017. It's a better model, newer, less mileage. So no, because if our relationships are based on duty, then we actually care for this person, and there's a whole reason why we care and how we care for the person, or in the vice versa. So then the life is harmonious. Of course, the feelings are also there, but the basis is the fundamentals of the duty. So the Lord felt, first I have a duty towards the earth, then I will fight this evil demon. But first, let me finish my thing. So he let the entrusted earth with mystic power to float on the water. Said, wait here, I'll be back. So Varahadeva, he said, another thing interesting enough, what Prabhupada points, is that the Mayavadis, the impersonalists who don't believe in God, or don't believe in the form of God, or the personality of God, they cannot understand that God has feelings. If you read, I read last couple of years a lot, this proof that God exists. So many different proofs. Saint Anselm's, and there's also the Saint Augustine's. This is to defeat the atheists that actually God exists in his, like from philosophical point of view. But nowhere there you can see that God actually has feelings. That God has feelings. That this should be considered, And therefore, because if God doesn't have feelings, where are our feelings coming from? Anyway, this is a completely different subject. It's more a philosophical subject. But we are speaking here of Varahadeva, that the atheists, they cannot understand that God has feelings. So if we offer prayers to the Lord, He is very pleased. Shri Nisimho Jaya Nisimho Jaya Jaya Shri Nisimho Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. We offer prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. And Lord Nrsimhadev is pleased by these nice words. One devotee once counted Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam verses. Of all the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam verses, he counted 1/3 is the prayers. 1/3 of the Bhagavatam is just prayers. So many beautiful prayers. Beautiful prayers. Prayers of the personified Vedas. Very beautiful, also philosophical. Lord Shiva's prayers. All kinds of different prayers. Wonderful prayers. Brahma prayers. So we offer prayers to Krishna to actually please Krishna. To glorify Him. And in the same way, Prabhupada says, if Krishna is not pleased, then if he is dissatisfied, then we cannot be successful, particularly in spiritual life. Anyway, so the demon, Hiranyaksha, he had his golden hair and the fearful tusks. He ran after Varahadeva. So what happened is, he wanted to fight him. He said he chased him with a large mace, big mace, club. Then Varahadeva, finally letting the earth sitting on the water, he said following words. Indeed, nectar. We are the creatures of the jungle. Because, he was the boar, we are the creatures of the jungle. And we are searching after hunting dogs like you. Wow. So cool. Varahadeva is no joke, And he said, is one who is freed from the entanglement of death, has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging. Meaning, you are speaking because you are afraid of death. Wow. and he said, give up your foolish talk, Varahadeva said. He said, you may be proud, but you do not deserve the seat in the assembly if you fail to fulfill your promised word. Meaning, you are not, you're not fit to sit with us because you cannot fulfill the promised word to kill me. Give up your foolish talks. Varahadeva. So the demon, of course, become very, challenged. But what I like to Hiranyaksha, I like Hiranyaksha actually quite a lot. Now when I'm reading, I actually like Hiranyaksha. No, he is zero fear. He has no fear whatsoever. He will go to the end. This is the real warrior. And I see this Varahadeva likes it very much. It is later described that Varahadeva greatly enjoyed being pierced or be smashed by a mace of Hiranyaksha, because this was his pleasure. As we know, actually Hiranyaksha was one of the two gatekeepers in the Vaikuntha planets. So therefore, these are his devotees after all. But he greatly enjoyed this real fight. It's not a mock fight. They call it sparring. Sparrings. They don't really, but really go at each other. Hiranyaksha was no source of fear, no retreating back, nothing. He was never afraid. Because sometimes when Krishna was fighting somebody, they retreat back and they come back with, no. Hiranyaksha was just charging. And Varahadeva, when he offended him, he said, Hiranyaksha was trembling like a challenged cobra. Wow, a challenged cobra. Anybody sees cobra actually? I didn't see a cobra, but I saw once I was with my grandfather. I was very young, so we were going to the mountain. He has a mountain cabin. And when we go to, there was an area with a big, long, tall grass. So usually we take the boots, the rubber boots, even in summer. And I was wondering, why are you taking the rubber boots in summer? But then I understood why. We were walking and he stepped on a snake. Because there's so many snakes in this high grass. And the snake was hissing like such a powerful, like, and biting him, bam, bam, bam. You can just hear, bang, 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 bang. His boots, bam, 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 5, 6, 7 times, down, down, down. I was like, wow, I was very scared. So this is what's going on. Hiranyaksha was like this, hissing like a challenged cobra. Then, hissing like a cobra, he blew his powerful mace towards the Lord. And he was wanting to punch Varahadeva in the chest. So Varahadeva defended with his club. How can Varahadeva with his hoof hold the club? This is a great mystery. But when you have a darshan of this pastime, please let us know. So he was holding the mace, defending, and he said they were clashing each other. And he said the maces were like a firebrand, golden clubs with smashing each other. Interesting enough, Hiranyaksha was so angry, not just he was charging, but he would bite his lip in anger. He could not even, not just yet to, his core was angry at Varahadeva. So it must be very pleasing. He was biting his lip. So they were, again, fighting in mace here and there. And what happened? He said they become more and more enraged, both of them, by the smell of the blood of the other enemy. Because they were catching a little bit blood here and there. And when you smell the blood of the other, they become more enraged. So Varahadeva become more enraged, and Hiranyaksha become more enraged. So they were fighting with these maces. And then what happened is that Lord Brahma came to watch. Demigods always watch these things. I mean, you have this nowadays is UFC. I know women don't watch, but men maybe. Ultimate Fighting Championship. And all these guys, it's probably, I don't know, very few women there, mostly guys. And the guy punched me, the blood falling. Everybody's like, yeah, and they pay so much money to watch this. I think tickets are very expensive. So this is a little similar, although it's a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the demigods came to watch it. And Lord Brahma said in the end to Varahadeva, my dear Lord, this is enough. Enough you played. He disturbed so many people, innocent people, disturbed the religious principles, demigods. Better you kill him right now. So Varahadeva said, okay. I will do the needful. So what happened is Varahadeva smashed him, and Hiranyaksha's mace fell out. And so he was suddenly no weapon. And Varahadeva, what did he do? No, he gave him back. Just gave him back. He's like, take it back. This is so offensive, For a Kshatriya, he gives you a duty like, wow. So anyways, he attacked him again, and his mace fell out again. So Varahadeva gave him again. And he said, no, I'm not taking it. This time his pride didn't let him. I'm not taking it. So what did he do instead? He took a trident. We know Lord Shiva has this weapon trident. You see in India, sometimes these Shiva Babas, they have this heavy trident. They walk with this bing, glong, gling, gling, this, I don't know what they have, chains or something. They walk, and this looks scary, Trident. So he had this trident, mystical trident. And he threw the trident at Varahadeva. And then Varahadeva took his famous weapon, Sudarshan, and burned these things to pieces, finished. And then what happened? Hiranyaksha wanted to use all the weapons, to use the mystic weapons, mystic power. And this is what happened. I didn't say this very interesting thing. That actually Hiranyaksha threw the mace at the Lord, and the Lord with his left foot kicked the mace. Imagine the boar with the foot just kicked the mace. I thought it was nice. So what happened with the Hiranyaksha's tricks? He said he thought they made the weather like this to be like a dissolution of the universe. And suddenly everything is dark and very fearsome situation. Fierce winds began to blow in all directions, spreading darkness, occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner, as if shot by machine guns, Prabhupada says. Imagine, stones from everywhere, hail, storms. That he sent this on Lord Varahadeva. The luminaries in the sky, these stars, everything, disappeared. But the dark clouds, and then there was the thunder and lightning. And then, this is terrible, the sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. All these things falling on you. Blood, stool, pus, urine, bones. Imagine, what kind of rain is this, So what happened? And then it's not the end. The naked demoness, the female demoness, naked, armed with tridents and spears, with their hair hanging loose and throwing spears at the Lord. Wow. All the heavy stuff going on. And the yakshas and rakshasas are saying cruel and savage slogans, shouting at the Lord. It's all horrible situation. But what happened then? Lord took his Sudarshan and just dispelled this whole immediately. With one Sudarshan, dispelled all these things. Then the Hiranyaksha saw, this is, I have to just kill him myself. No weapon worked. So he came to the Lord and wanted to crush him. He wanted to embrace him and to crush the Lord. But then somehow he wanted to embrace him and not happening. Lord is always somehow not there. We spoke about this also the other day. How Lord is not easy to be captured. Like this Yavana wanted to actually capture Krishna, but he was always somehow one step ahead of him. He wanted to one step ahead. So this is the same. Hiranyaksha wanted to crush him, but the Lord was escaped. And interesting enough, Prabhupada says, when Lord wants to be captured, he can be captured by devotee very easily. He said many devotees in Vrindavan carry their deities in the box. And we have a Shalagram Shilas, they stay in a little box. The Supreme Personality of Godhead agree to stay in a little box. But if you are not devotee, you cannot capture him no matter what you try. So this is the moral of the story here. So anyways, Hiranyaksha wanted to punch him 3-4 times, and that didn't work out. And then the Lord killed him in a very, very, very wonderful way. with his left hoof, he slapped him here at the root of the ear. Everybody who knows a little martial art, I don't know much, but I know this much. The best knockout is here if you punch somebody here. 100%. Where is Krishna Charan? He actually told me this story. Isn't it? He actually told me this story. It's here. He said here is the best knockout. And this is exactly where Lord Varahadeva, he says, hoof, bam. Slapped him, meaning hit him really hard. So what happened? He immediately died. He was devastated. I don't want to, it's maybe a little gruesome story. I don't want the children here. But it's, although I mentioned the rain. So anyways, so the demon died. His beautiful hair scattered on the ground, and everybody says, alas, alas. The demigod showering flowers is usually, And the Lord has done everything. And then return to his abode. Hare Krishna, I did my thing. See you later. The Lord is actually, we know one of the 6 qualities of Bhagavan is supreme renunciation. So he did his job, going. That's it, not sentimental. The Lord is not much sentimental. The supremely renounced. So then, for the end, this is already 9 o'clock, the boon for those who heard this pastime. Anyone who hears, who chants, who takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of the killing of Hiranyaksha is at once relieved of the results of sinful reactions, even killing of a Brahmana. So we all somehow or other relieved of killing of a Brahmana, even such a great sinful act. This is boon number 1. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit. So whoever hears this, wealth, our wealth is Krishna. Fame, those who want to be famous. Longevity and all the objects of one's desire. Whatever we desire, Krishna will fulfill if we hear this pastime. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's own vital organs, and one who listens at the last moment of one's life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord, Vaikuntha Loka. Shri Varahadeva ki Jaya. Now we can silence 2 more minutes just to savor this amazing pastime we have just heard. You can think maybe one question. Yes, Prabhu. I have not found the sufficient reason. There's some examples. Maybe I've heard that because the earth was overused they were digging for gold. So they were making different, so by digging the gold, they disturbed the orbit of the earth. But this is, I've just heard. Any US scholars here, you may know. Fell off the axis. It's disturbing. Just like you have a sphere, ball. If you drill too much holes, it's somehow off balance. Exactly. It makes off balance. Okay, let's leave this topic aside because any other question? Because it's already 9 o'clock. Then Shri Varahadeva ki Jaya, Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.